So that normally ECG is divided into PQRST waveforms, and they are divided into different segments and intervals. So why was it named PQRST? Because supposedly others are not available.
Why was the PQRS given?
मेरे को पता है ट्रिपल एम में बताया था क्योंकि और कुछ बचा नहीं था वहाँ पे
उसका रीजन है कि initially the ECG was designed by Ethovan. I never thought I'll talk about this, but what was done, it was actually not right, and it was he gave it his name that ABCD. So that is why they wanted to then finally when the ECG was devised, they wanted to keep it away from the alphabets so that they were not sure कि all भी कौन सी waves आ सकती हैं. So PQRS was chosen so that they can extend in either directions,
leaving room for newer waves.
Yeah, so that more waves can be common. This history is beautifully given in Harsh.
Okay. So just the same diagram, reiterating different segments and telling about the ventricular diastole and ventricular systole. So the ECG paper that we have, it normally moves around at the velocity of 25 mm per second. So each small box is 0.04 seconds, each large box is 0.2 seconds, and vertically it is 0.5 millivolts. So this is the limb leads leading to Ackermann's triangle. Ackermann law states that lead 1 plus p is equal to 2. So coming to augmented leads, which are 3, AVR, AVL, and AVF, which basically made through combining the other 2 leads without than the only active one, and they get augmented with leads. We need to know the angles of each lead to get 60 degree lead at 120, and AVF 90, AVR 150, and AVL 150. Coming to placements, we just need to know V1 and V2 are kept at 4th and 1st place, V5, V4, V5, V6 in the 5th and 1st place, mid-clavicular line, and D-clavicular line. So this slide just states small features of the normal ECG. On the left side, we have period duration generally is from less than 120. PR interval is less than 200, from 20 to 100. QRS duration is from 100 to 120. QT interval is from 100 to 40 to 50. And coming to the right side, RR variation, heart rate variability in normal patients. 10% cardiac access is generally normal from negative 30 to positive 90. Then we'll be coming to all waves. Coming to wave. So generally P waves are positive in lead 2, and usually we lead 1 AVL and AVL, reflecting the leftward inferior direction of activation. And the P wave axis is approximately 70 degrees. Normal P wave axis convert from 60 to maximum to plus 75. And in these AVL and VC, it might be upright or down, depending on the exact. The upper limit of P wave is set at 120, and it should be measured in the lead with the widest P wave. Amplitude is normally less than 0.25, and the terminal negative deflection on V1 is generally less than 0.1. Atrial repolarization is generally not seen usually in the ECG because of low amplitude, because the other amplitude such as greatest complex and they may be observed as low waves with the polarity opposite that of P wave, that is called as TA wave during AV blocks. And deviation of the PR segment can be a marker of acute pericarditis uh, and or atrial infarction. Heart rate variability. Relatively high frequency fluctuations are generally mediated by vagus nerve, such that the heart rate increases during inspiration and decreases during expiration. And attenuation of this respiratory sinus rhythmia at rest is a marker of physiological aging or can occur with DM, CHF, other aging conditions. Relative low frequency physiological oscillation in heart rate appears to be jointly regulated by sympathetic and parasympathetic. It is usually isoelectric in the beginning with the end of P wave and the end of the onset of QRS complex. PR interval extends from the onset of P wave to the onset of QRS complex. The normal PR measures longitudinal, and it is best determined in the lead with the shortest PR interval to avoid missing various peak cycles. Coming to ventricular pre-excitation, normally the pattern of ventricular pre-excitation starts from the septum. First initial manifestation is the septum is activated from the left to the right, then gradually it goes towards the apex and from the apex towards the base of the heart. And hence they are literally much logically there are two motions. First is towards left to right, and the next one is towards the left because LB has much higher mass. The resultant vector is towards left. The normal QRS duration traditionally set at less than 120 as normal and measured in the lead with the widest QRS complex. So, intrinsic or deflection. Intrinsic or deflection relates to the particular segment when the QRS has reached its maximum peak, and after that it reverts. This has also been termed in some cases as R-wave peak time. So this gives us an indication of the depolarization from the endocardium to the epicardium. QRS duration also indicates the origin of complexes like sinus, atrial, junctional, ventricular. More infraregion, more cardiac. So there is normally a transition which occurs from the cardiac leads from V1 to V6 with gradually increasing R wave, and normally the transition occurs in V3 to V4. And coming to low amplitude QRS, low amplitude QRS defined as less than 0.5 millivolts in all frontal PM leads and less than 1 millivolt in the precordial leads. It may occur as normal variant or it might be due to cardiac or extracardiac causes. In cardiac are multiple infarctions, infiltrative cardiomyopathies, myocarditis, and extracardiac could be as after chronic septic disease. Coming to ST wave and normally QRS and T have the same direction, and this occurs because the depolarization and the repolarization are both from the endocardium to the epicardium. And level of ST segment generally is measured at J point or in some applications such as X-ray testing 40 to 80 milliseconds after the J point. Typically, estimation greatest at V2 is higher in younger men than in young women and higher in African Americans than in whites. And these recommendations for the upper limits of normal J-point elevation in lead B2, B3 are 0.2 for men 40 or older, 0.25 for men less than 40, and 0.15 for your ST angle. It is the angle uh, which is formed by the vectors of both QRS and ST force is normally less than 90 degrees in women and 107 degrees for men. And basically it reflects the abnormalities of activation and recovery. Other normal variants, we can have a juvenile T wave emerging because Henry did not all T waves are inverted in all Piccadilly, and subsequently they become normal. But sometimes the juvenile pattern may persist. And early deceleration pattern, that is J-point elevation on different leads, sometimes considered an awkward, but in period leads, it has been associated with correlation not the consensus, but among different forms of if there is a notch at the end of QRS or slur on the downstroke of R wave, the peak of the notch of J wave is 0.1 millivolts or greater in amplitude in two or more contiguous leads, excluding V1 to V3. And the QRS duration is normal. Cromwell also defines notch and slur differently. They say notch is very abrupt and does not touch the baseline, whereas slur is grand. Rate we know more than we can calculate it, we calculate rate by 30 number of log squares in between complexes. Or if it is further half, then we take 1500 the number of squares. We can also take, so we know that the ECG gauge is running at 25 mm per second, then we can take 10 seconds at this 50 mm, and that's on the complexes and multiply the sets. So this is taken from Park, just heart rate according to age. Coming to cardiac axis. So cardiac axis is normally defined from negative 30 to plus 90. Left axis is when the axis is less than negative 30, and right axis is than plus 90. And extreme axis and offset axis from negative 90 to 180. We can calculate several methods. Quadrant method, we take lead 1, 2 and ABF, and isoelectric lead analysis, and then we calculate. So we all know that this method, where if both leads are positive, it's normal. Lead 1 is positive, ABF is negative, it's possible LED, because 0 to 30 is still normal. And negative lead 1 and ABF is positive, it's right axis open negative, extreme axis. Coming to P lead, so if we take lead 2 also, then we can define much more accuracy. And normal axis also a positive, but if LED is sorry, if lead 1 is positive and lead ABF is negative and lead 3 is equiphasic, then the axis will be around negative 30. But if lead 2 is negative, it will be 30 to 90. And coming to right axis, lead 1 will be negative, and both lead 2 and lead 3 will be positive. On extreme axis, all three will be negative. Coming to isoelectric lead, so whichever lead is isoelectric, the axis will be 90 degrees straight. And now when we plot, we have to take the net deflection of lead 1 and net deflection of lead AVF and net deflection of 2 is that. It's the same method but with all the 6 leads. So multiple causes of axial deviation, RPH, acute RV strain like community involvement, vertical CLD, sorry, CPD, and academia, which will not be the access, engage, LGD, anticulation, MSD, permanently related. PG master, coming to chamber imbalance, starting with atrial imbalance, coming to left atrial abnormality, these are the criteria stated. So, after long period of duration, with more than 120 milliseconds can lead to prominent notching of T waves, usually most obvious in lead to internal difference between two notches of 14.40 milliseconds. That's called the steam trail. The specificity is even little bit higher, 90%. The ratio between the duration of the T wave in lead 1 and the duration of PR segment is more than 1.6, also known as McClure index, and increased duration and depth of terminal negative portion of T wave in V1, so that the area subtended it as more than equal to 0.04 millimeter second, which is known as Morris index, and leopard shift of mean T wave axis to between -30 to -45. Many times we have this direct question sometimes with in cases of atrial fibrillation, how do we say there is left atrial abnormality? And
From where have you taken this sensitivity and specificity criteria?
सर ये सर ACCH के सर 6 पेपर्स हैं खाली ECG पे, उसमें चेंबर एनलार्जमेंट का एक पेपर है, वो सिर्फ ECG पे है, चेंबर एनलार्जमेंट, PQRST और एंजाइना, ये 6 पेपर है, उसी पे ग्राउंड भी उन्हीं को कोट करती है, मैंने उसी को निकाला। And so in air, if V wave when V1 is more than 1, then we say that cell enlargement might be this is taken control. So this is just a diagrammatic representation of the Morris index. The LA is posterior and the LD grows. The terminal P wave also. It might be associated with valvular disease like MS, MR, ECLP compliance, hypertension, COPD, IS, AR, infuriated heart disease, many conditions in which respiration or valvular. Coming to right atrial abnormality, the criteria of P wave, peak P wave with amplitude in lead to of more than 0.25 millivolts, which is known as P5. Prominent initial positivity in V1 or V2 will be more than 0.15 millivolts. The increased area under initial positive portion of the P wave in lead V1 should be more than 0.06 millimeter second, and the rightward shift of mean P wave axis to more than 75. Okay. Apart from that, there are two QRS criteria also. If there is a small Q regard type of pattern in the right myocardial leads without evidence of any myocardial infarction, or there is a low amplitude QRS complex in lead V1 together with threefold or greater increase in lead V2. These are also criteria. So this is just a diagram showing all these things. ECG. Here we can see there is peak P waves and inferior leads. And in V1, there is some initial part that is dominant. There is right axis deviation, and we can see that the lead one between V1 and V2 here is differential diagnosis of right atrial abnormality. Same value, DSKR, primary components, congenital, and generally they are the right atrial abnormality associated with RH, but RA without RH can be seen. Coming to right abnormality, where we see both the features of left and right. Differences are MS plus preliminary attempts, then metals, muscle, protracted critical patient, MS, AS, ASD, and Newton. Coming to LVH, we know it can be divided into systolic and diastolic model. The features uh, amplitude of wheels, especially now we're facing the left leads, and the other include widening of PRS, delaying the ventricular activation time, shortening of PRS, prolongation of QT, and evidence of earlier movement. ST variation, ST waves also can change, and in patients are rested depression with TV measure. In volume overload LVH, you can see deep two waves, duration leads, and these are both the examples. We can see the volume overload, there are prominent two waves in the before. And so multiple criteria. We will discuss this on stated. Second line voltage criteria where ST1 plus R P5 or P6 is more than 3.5 millivolts. Sensitivity is very good, limited. Then R wave AVL is more than 1.1 millivolts. R P5 P6 is more than equal. Roman trustees take into consideration multiple points, and if all the cumulative points are more than 5, it's definite, rather than 4, and they have a specificity of 85 to 90. And the voltage criterion, SP3 plus R ABL more than 2.8 in men and 2.0 for women. They have better sensitivity. And the voltage duration measurement, the sensitivity is 51%, specificity is 95%. They are not related to the equation. For the equation, they will be taken into consideration also. There are multiple other criteria that in that document. I've just stated one of the name. One more question that we are commonly asked is actually for diagnosing LVT in terms of LVT. So this is taken from most from Kafka. So R in AVL 2011, where the electrical QRS axis is 40, and SV1 plus RV5 for P6 more than 40, and SP2 more than 30, or SP3 more than 25. One states that in LVD there is left rated abnormality and today's precision is more than 155, then 90% will have. One more thing, LVH in the presence of AHB, these are also stated in and same in the presence of RVVD. Coming to RBH, so these are common diagnostic criteria like R V1 is more than 0.6, increase R by S in V1 more than 1, D is in V5, V6, tall R is in AVR, small S in V1, reduced RR ratio, multiple. There are two main criteria. Three main criteria for this looking. Circular line criteria for average is RB1 plus 55 more than 10.5, where RB1 is more than 7 mm, and APR is more than 5 mm, S Butler Leggett formula, which is and Lewis formula R wave in lead 1 plus S wave in lead 3 minus S wave in lead 1 and R wave in lead 3 plus then 1.5. This is also type of RBH. In type A, it's typical RBH, which has a tall R in V1 and prominent S in V5, V6. In type B, incomplete RBH or RGB, where R in V1 is more than 0.5 millivolts, R is more than 1, and the normal QRS in V5, V6. In type C, chronic quantity, there is RS pattern in V1 and V2, and capital RS pattern in V5, V6. ECG is a both V2 average and the maximum shape for the half. RAD and surface rotation is very important.
What do you mean by clockwise rotation?
So in this, it means the transition is occurring later.
Yeah. So normally, what happens? This is different from the looping.
Yes, yes.
This is not. This happens. What do you mean by counterclockwise rotation? When the transition occurs very early. Clockwise rotation means when the clockwise. This is seen in only in. This is a phenomena which is seen in anterior leads. This is phenomena which will be
Recording.
just leads.
Yes. Signs of acute RV overload, like change in the QRS vector more than 30 degrees, transient negative T waves, S1 Q1, S1 Q2 D3, appearance of right middle branch block with accompanying street notice. These S1 Q3 D3 occurs in about only 10% of the positive predictive value ranging from 22 to 69%. Coming to diagonal hypertrophy, basically to have voltage, surface high voltage criteria of both ventricles, delayed intrinsic wide deflection of both ventricles, and equalization between LVH with RAD or LVH with RA, deep SA along with LVH. These are coming to Q waves. So normal Q waves are produced by the depolarization of the ventricular system as stated earlier. And any negative deflection, because Q wave is any negative deflection prior to the R wave or the first negative deflection. And features of performance of the Q waves, generally they are less than 1 mm wide, that is and less than 2 mm. Mainly they are absent in V1 to V3, and larger Q waves might be seen in V3 and AVR. That is normal wave. Pathological scene waves are can be more than 40 milliseconds, more than 2 MB, and can be seen in V1. So the potential of U waves can be normal physiologic, which could be due to dextrocardia, due to acute myocardial injury or infiltration, and due to ventricular hypertrophy and enlargement. It should be left or right, and due to hypertrophic cardiomyopathy and conduction on WPW and left ventricular. Okay, coming to differential diagnosis of tall R waves in the P1 region. It could be physiologic or position within the space testes. You can again V1, V3, and normal variants. The displacement of the heart towards the right side of the chest, depending on how required. In lateral or through posterior myocardial infarction, muscular dystrophy, due to RBH and hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, and altered ventricular defibrillation with aortic connection abnormalities and surgical. Coming to 4-hour preparation, multiple causes, antiseptic amount, voltage, extracardia, left-handed downward, tension pneumothorax, also wide QRS. We can have RBV, LBV, IVCDs, and transient IVCD, which may be rate-related or toxicities, drug-related kind like hypokalemias or PVCs or physical exertion. I'll come to Vandermark blocks. Initially, we started with casting blocks. So we know the Vandermark block is going to enter into vascular. So the criteria for left anterior fascicular block is the QRS axis will be between from -45 to -90. Left axis. QR pattern AVL, and QRS duration is less than 120, and time to peak R wave in AVL is more than 45 minutes. QR pattern in AVL. And coming to posterior left posterior fascicular block, the axis between 90 to 180 axis. RS pattern is 1 and 2 with QR in mid, P and AVR. QRS duration less than 120, and you have to exclude other possible readings like RBO or pattern for reading. Coming to complete left ventricular block, first QRS duration should be more than 120. Right now, third R waves and one AVL V5. All are absent initial R waves in V1, V2, followed by T plus K. And absent sectored waves in V1, V5, V6. And for long time to peak R wave is more than 60 milliseconds. Similarly, RVV, the duration is more than 120, and RSR, morphology is RSR is V1 and V2. And S waves seen in V1 and V6, which is more than 40 milliseconds wide.
How do you differentiate incomplete RBPV from complete RBPV?
So, the duration, QRS duration. The morphology is the same, and the QRS duration.
In morphology, what is the difference in morphology in incomplete and complete?
Different. Morphology में कोई difference नहीं है, duration है.
So basically, it is the duration from onset to peak R wave also.
Duration of the QRS complex.
Yeah.
Dr. Shashank, what are the ECG changes in the hypertrophic cardiomyopathy?
So in hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, the septal leads show prominent Q waves. There will be left ventricle hypertrophy present, and if there is any apical variety, prominent T wave movements might be there. And atrial rhythms, left atrial abnormality.
So asymmetrical septal hypertrophy का क्या sign होता है? We see basically dagger like Q waves in lateral leads and inferior leads. There the Q wave is there, but they are narrower and deeper as compared to pathological Q waves of previous infarction. Apart from that, LVH and left atrial enlargement, obviously supraventricular tachycardia like AFR very common.
Coming to multifaceted blocks, so typically defined bifaceted block is RBB plus LHP or LPHP. We take LGB also as bifaceted. And in trifasciculum, because bifaceted is PR formation. I just included this ECG though. Actually, this ECG is taken from one. Is stating that the patient had sinus rhythm at 95 beats per minute with a 2:1 AV block. I will define like sinus rhythm. And it is labeling it as bifascicular block because of RBB and LHB. But if there is a 2:1 AV block, shouldn't be
It is a AV
defined
nodal
as-
block, bhaiya.
So shouldn't be defined with as bifascicular block.
I don't think this ECG has a block at the level of bundle branch. This is AV nodal.
AV nodal तो is there, मान लिया.
Ventricular block.
Anyway, Brahmol to है. Coming to alternate bundle branch blocks.
No, you go to the previous, you know. So you defend your thing, no? Why do you say that this is a fascicular block?
So because obviously RBB and LHP is there, but if there is a 2:1 AV block, it might be AV block, bundle block, or interrupting block. So I don't know how can we say it's just
Hello.
So you can say that basically AV node is conducting 2:1, but whatever AV node is conducting, it is showing a fascicular block.
yeah, the QRS is relatively narrow, so
QRS is
narrow, so
borderline here, ekdam.
मतलब relatively narrow. So it is not influencing.
Plus V1 is showing a terminal R wave, whatever is conducting. V6 is showing a terminal S wave, so most likely it's a
RBB is there.
RBV
RBB with LHP is there.
with left axis
QR,
with LHB. Yeah. Actually, not classical LAHB because
We have
one
to
and
take,
AVL has RS.
if
Q
you
है one में.
if you have to take AVL, there is a Q wave.
हाँ yeah, there's a small Q wave. But definitely 2:1 AV conduction.
So this labeling does not seem appropriate.
It was from Brombold, so that's why I just picked it and put it there.
Okay, we'll go to the next one.
So coming to alternate bundle branch blocks, we could see in the ECGs they have been labeled as ABC. The first one is showing V1 with RBB morphology. Second one is showing with LBB morphology. And towards the end, they have showing alternating both morphologies. So these patients have a high chance of going into complete heart block.
What are the causes of alternating bundle branch block?
causes could be, it could be degenerative, it could be ischemic, it could be
It could be also drug induced.
drug induced.
Mostly digoxin toxicity may cause alternating
It
conduct.
is one of the things. Coming to causes of white rivers, which was, and coming to STT ranges. So this will be aggression. So just coming to diagnosis of ST elevation. It could be myocardial ischemia or infarction, and it also includes tachycardia and post myocardial infarction aneurysm formation, acute pericarditis, in which we generally see PR depression and ST elevation on the behavior, which is also normal variants, which like have early polarization pattern and LVH and FEVP, C1 or T3. Rate causes are acute primary embolism, Gurada pattern, which has RBD-like pattern and elevation on the right record is 1 to 3. Class 1C antiarrhythmia, hypokalemia, immediately after DP cardiovascular, hypocalcemia, hypothermia, which has J1 waves, ICH, myocardial injury caused by trauma, myocarditis, pulmonary tumor in medium. Coming to myocardial issue. So the definition of ST elevation has been defined according to age and sex. So at least 2 continuous leads with ST elevation with 2.5 millimeters in men less than 40 years, 2 mm in men with more than 40 years, or 1.5 mm in women leads B2 to B3, and or 1 mm in other leads in the absence of LVH or EBUD. This is just a diagnostic representation of the same. So that defines estimation in man. And in cases of inferior wall MN, we have to take V3R and V4R. And if there is a depression in lead 1 to V3, and especially if the terminal T wave is positive, then confirmation is done by taking concomitant V7 to V9 leads. And if they have even a 0.5 mm ST segment elevation, is defined as positive. So there is localization of different amines, differentiating post AMI due to R3 and L6. So generally we say in RCA, if there is an elevation in lead 3 which is more than in lead 2, and there is a ST depression in lead 1, it is
One in
defined,
EVL. One in EVL both.
And if there is a proximal, we define proximal RCA fusion as ST elevation of more than 1 mm with positive T wave in B4R, and if it's distal, the ST, the ST is isoelectric positive T wave. And in L6 occlusion, if the ST elevation in lead 2 is greater than 2, the ST is isoelectric in lead 1, and ST is isoelectric or depressed with negative T waves in lead V4R. And these basically shows. For value of V4R, just as stated, if it's ST is elevated along with the positive T wave, it's proximal RCA. If no ST elevation with positive T wave, it's distal RCA. And if there is isoelectric or depressed with negative T wave, it's a now coming to anterior wall MI. So it can be divided on the basis of the septal and the a diagonal branch. It can be, it's defined as proximal if it's previous to the first septal or diagonal branch, whichever comes first. It can be distal to the first septal and proximal to the first diagonal, or distal to the LAD. So we just in the proximal occlusion, the ST elevation is generally seen in the AVR, AVL, V1 leads, and ST depression in 2-3 AVL. The ST elevation in V1 is more than 2 mm, and we have seen in V2, V4 also. ST is isoelectric or depressed in V5, V6, and if there is a quad depressed in block, then RV is also. Coming to distal to first branch of septum and proximal to first diagonal. In these patients, if there is ST elevation in one AVL but ST depression in lead 3 and 2 is isoelectric, then along with ST elevation of V4, V6, then it is in between. I'm not discussing the third because it is relatively rare. And in distal LAD, there is ST elevation in inferior leads, but it is highest in lead 2, and there is ST elevation in V3 to V6.
So basically, please, ये last slide पे है ना, तो इसमें जो second point है ना, मतलब irrespective of first diagonal or first septal, whatever is coming ना, उसके बाद it should be between any of them. Hello. हाँ शशांक बोस, इसमें ऐसे ही है. It can be even distal to first septal and proximal to first diagonal.
तो दोनों में
It is like कि first major branch जो भी निकल रही है ना LAD की, उससे proximal होना चाहिए.
हाँ, वो तो proximal वाला फंडा है. Proximal का फंडा है कि first septal या first diagonal जो भी branch है.
Yeah, so it is or not and. Whichever is first vessel, उससे पहले जो आएगा that is
मैंने वो
proximal.
बोला ही, but
I think ये NEGM वाले पेपर से लिया है ना हमने.
ये actually Valence का आर्टिकल है इसलिए. तो बेसिक उसका NEGM का पेपर का बेसिस यही है.
The basis is that NEGM paper only ना, जिसमें अलग लोग they have said. तो उसमें ऐसे ही है. इसमें एक आर्टिकल में डायग्राम भी बना रखा है उन्होंने फर्स्ट वेसल सेकंड वेसल. हाँ, this one.
So this is showing that there is a occlusion which is after the first diagonal but before the first. So here we can see the our axis is directing towards AVL. So the ST elevation you can see in leads V1, AVR, and lead 3. Second ECG, which is showing a distal occlusion of the LAD. Here the axis is pointing towards lead 2, hence there will be elevation in lead 2, which will be more than lead 3 along the V5. And coming to proximal occlusion, so here the axis is more towards the base, hence there is elevation in AVR, V1, and local depression in PV. Coming to semi-equivalent, just a moment of time.
So what is the mechanism of ST elevation? ये question पूछते हैं theory में.
Basically it is ST elevation में मतलब ECG में ST depression होता है, but ECG उसको क्या करते हैं उसको ST elevation नहीं दिखता.
हाँ, तो उस पे एक slide बनानी थी आपको.
Then मैं डाल दूँगा. I'll just put it.
हाँ.
And
if ये भी पूछते हैं वाइवा में कभी-कभी कि if ST segment elevation localizes to the site of transmural infarction, why does ST depression do not localize to the site of ischemia?
ये पता नहीं, डॉक्टर विवेका ने बोला था एक बार मैरियट से देखना, मुझे समझ नहीं आया।
हाँ, मतलब इसमें ऐसा ही है कि यूजुअली ट्रांसम्यूरल इस्कीमिया होता है ना, तो वी गेट अ directed vector towards that particular site, whereas whenever there is a subendocardial ischemia the vectors cancel each other. Okay,
ठीक है, हाँ मतलब ST depression does not have a localizing.
yes, the ST depression can never localize. Even if you have anterior wall ischemia, you can have ST depressions in inferior wall, because they are just markers of subendocardial ischemia. However, whenever there is transmural ischemia, as in case of acute MI, then we get a directed vector towards that direction.
So coming to other stemma.
क्या हेलो
हेलो,
क्या रीजन है सब एंडोकार्डियल इस्कीमिया क्या होगा?
यार बेसिकली क्या होता है, डिपोलराइजेशन होता है ना, इट इज ऑलवेज टुवर्ड्स फ्रॉम एंडोकार्डियम टुवर्ड्स एपिकार्डियम, ठीक है?
Right.
So whenever there is a subendocardial ischemia, this, there is a ST depression because the duration of action potential is shorter. Okay, so repolarization starts earlier in epicardium compared to endocardium, but this does not localize to any one particular area because it doesn't affect the net vector of depolarization. However, in transmural ischemia it does affect, because वहां तो मसल पूरी चली जाती है ना, the whole everything goes endo, epi, myo, everything.
ठीक।
Plus ये भी एक स्लाइड एक ऐड कर देंगे. There is a 5 marker question in exam where they ask you have to tell us the mechanism of ST elevation, the ionic mechanism. There are 2-3 theories including a gated theory.
There are 2-3 ionic mechanisms that are given. है पढ़ा हुआ था, वो पढ़ा हुआ है मैंने, बताऊंगा उसका ब्राउनवुड में डायग्राम भी।
And semiconductors, they have the reflecting waves or optical particles. Taken as semicolon, left bundle branch of the area showing elevation in the sound. So, ST elevation in AVR could be due to left-handed disease, or if we want to introduce disease, or we talk from this anti-descending and left second. Coming to LVB.
No. Please, Shashank was, yes, मैं आप वो बताओ ना, what is the ESC criteria of LMC equivalent?
So if there is ST depression in 8 or
there
more
is ST elevation in AVR or V1, okay,
which is more than equal
plus,
to 1.
Yes, plus ST depression in more than 8 leads.
8 leads.
Then it is equal LMC.
पर ये डेफिनेशन पर ये सी नहीं दिया है.
आप लेटेस्ट हुई ना?
Then coming to LVB, is new LVB. So we have to apply Barbosa criteria. Here we basically look for discordance. So if more than one lead, there is 1 mm of concordant ST elevation, we give them 5 points. And if in lead 1, 2, 3, for more than 1 mm of concordant ST depression, we give 3 points. And in more than 1 mm ST elevation or proportionally to discordant ST, minus more than 25% of the depth of the preceding ST. So if there is discordant ST elevation of more than 5 mm, give 2 points. And if the total score is more than 3, we have specificity of more than 90%, or diagnosing a fresh MI.
So now it has been proven to be a Bekar criteria with a very low sensitivity. Again, as per recent literature, now LVB Barbosa criteria is no more
This was Barbosa criteria was done in TV.
Because any LBBB is ischemia equivalent.
Yeah. We take it as presumed special.
Yeah, and any new onset LBBB irrespective of Barbosa criteria is ischemia equivalent.
Coming to Valence syndrome, it could be of two types. Type A shows a biphasic T wave in V1 to T3, V4, and type B is inversion type, which is 75% of the patient, which has deep T wave levels, and this is V1, V4. It is generally associated with significant proximal LAD fluctuations. What is important is that patient might be asymptomatic at the point of time. And
Usually, patient is asymptomatic, and with symptoms, these changes disappear.
these changes disappear. So that's why it's very important. Coming to D-Winter sign. So D-Winter sign, you can observe that there is ST depression with tall T waves. But the difference between hyperacute and D-Winter is that D-Winter sign are not transient and they remain in subsequent ECGs. This is also again a marker of proximal LAD fusion. Coming to ST depression, as we stated, it could be either a sloping, down-sloping, or horizontal, but down-sloping is most significant. Causes could be myocardial ischemia, reciprocal change in ST elevation MI, posterior MI, D-Winter, digoxin, then hypokalemia, tachycardias, Pendergrass blocks, hypertrophies, phase rhythm. Coming to QT interval, so QT interval indicates ventricular activity and both depolarization and repolarization, and is inversely proportional to the heart rate. And this is generally defined as for males 440 and for females 460. In this diagram, actually, it is shown if there is the prominent U wave, which you are not able to make out where the T is ending and where the U is starting. So you can take a tangent to the maximum slope, and where it reaches the baseline, touches the baseline, you can calculate QT interval from that. But it has to be taken from the maximum slope. The formulas for correction of QT are generally used as Bazets. Bazets is generally used for sinus rhythm, was used for sinus rhythm, and it was applicable in normal physiological heart rates, not in bradycardia. Then Friedrichia, which is like Bazets but at cube root of ERR interval. Tengian Hodges, they are QT nomograms also. But generally speaking, if QT is less than half of the previous RR interval, it's probably not. Long QT, we know it could be drug-induced dyslipidemia, hypothermia, MI, post-cardiac arrest, ICP, antibiotic-induced, and antipsychotics. Short QTC seen in hypokalemia, short QT syndromes, which are associated with proximal atrial and ventricular fibrillation, important semi-cardiac death, and the Jocelyn effect also short QT. So this is, as everyone knows, this is a ECG showing acute pericarditis, which is showing ST elevation and PR depression in mostly except in AVR. So generalized ST elevation, PR depression with symptoms and vestibular pericarditis.
Which one lead will you like to see for acute pericarditis?
एक lead AVR.
AVR, yeah.
Yeah.
So most
सर
important
D1 में भी हो सकता है, पर AVR.
AVR.
So, coming to deep TV inversions could be due to ischemia, CVA, due to apical HCM. Generally, with CVA, they are associated with QT prolongation, and similarly, in also patients having Takotsubo or memory TVs. So, what are memory TVs? Not knowing.
So basically after any
Only.
अच्छा मैं नहीं बताऊँ okay. बताओ यार आजकल तो सारे इलेक्ट्रोलॉजिस्ट हो
So if we see deep wave, T wave inversions after any kind of pacing, any ablation, it is due to basically a repolarization abnormality. It is not ischemic, and they get reverted in phase to months.
usually and basically defined for post radio frequency ablation.
So we can see in the diagram there's showing hooked ST segment or inverse check sign along with the rhythm is right here. And QT is okay. So what is the difference between digoxin toxicity and effect on ECG? So
What is the difference between?
digoxin effect and toxicity on ECG.
How to determine whether it is it is matlab in the therapeutic dose range or it is above therapeutic dose range?
So इसके डिप्रेशन के बाद अगर ये बेसलाइन को टच कर रहा है तो इफेक्ट में है, अगर बेसलाइन को टच नहीं कर रहा तो पॉसिबिलिटी और उसके सिम्टम्स जो आएंगे.
So there are other things as well. You have to look at PR interval.
Most important, yeah. So
PR interval
में अगर थेरेपेटिक डोज है तो उसमें पीआर इंटरवल बढ़ेगा, क्यूटी इंटरवल हमारा आई गेस कम होगा. और अगर टॉक्सिसिटी की बात करें तो उसमें वो टेकिकार्डिया एंड मतलब फिब्रिलेशन एंड अरेस्ट एट एक्सट्रीमली हायर डोजेस पे होता है. So it is basically the
toxicity, though it can cause anything, no?
anything.
Important
Anything.
is you should be able
Effect.
to determine when the toxicity has started manifesting. So what will be the earliest feature which will tell you that it has got digoxin toxicity?
In deep ST depression जिसका inverse check mark inverse tick होता है ना, उल्टा tick जिसको बोलते हैं inverse.
That is effect, na?
That is toxic, not toxicity. That is digoxin effect.
When you will pick up earliest that it has started having digoxin toxicity.
Earliest pickup से तो PR interval, QTC prolongation.
PR prolongation is a feature of digoxin effect. The QT interval with the way you are describing is a effect of digoxin effect. Once the QT interval starts impacting, it means this is the earliest sign of digoxin toxicity.
Yes.
Whenever you have this PR prolongation with ST inversion, one should be very careful, keep monitoring the QT interval, and then it is considered earlier toxicity.
What are the most common arrhythmias and very pathognomic arrhythmias of digoxin toxicity?
So biventricular VT, paroxysmal,
bidirectional VT.
Bidirectional VT, and one more.
What do you mean by bidirectional VT?
That means the VT मतलब एक्सिस का चेंज, मतलब एक एक्सिस, दो एक्सिस होते हैं तो मॉर्फोलॉजी दो एक्सिस के हिसाब से चेंज होती है.
Yeah, so there will be both. It will keep on changing into the axis will keep on changing.
Where it is more common apart from reduction toxicity?
CPVT.
Yeah, CPVT. Catecholaminergic morphic ventricular tachycardia.
And one more. Okay, common. Proximal lateral tachycardia. Or a
Yeah.
common.
So we'll go to the next slide. So basically, ECG is a very big topic and can be divided into congenital, into what you are describing today, and actually we can take 4-5 days. So and we can have different people actually who can go. So we'll summarize this. How many slides are left?
Not much. Deeper.
But I think we'll have two more because from exam point of view, we wanted a discussion there to summarize whatever we have learned in all the congenital hearts. Suppose you have a ECG, how will you approach about chamber enlargement, dilatation? How will you approach? Because you will be given one ECG now, so how will you approach that? Which chamber is enlarged? What is that? Is the most? I mean, that is what we wanted to have a focus on today.
We can have.
Then we can have. Yeah, then we can have another one about metabolic. We can have another one about all these tachycardias. So that way, I think I will need some better input from people who are doing it more routinely. So yes, hypocalcemia and this QTC is okay. We see it, but probably for myocardial infarction, I was the worst person to see.
सर MI की तो याद है हम सबको.
Okay.
Sir,
Yeah, we continue. Okay.
So coming to hypocalcemia. So hypocalcemia is typically associated with QT prolongation, and hypocalcemia is associated with QT shortening, and along with there might be elevation of.
What are you saying in hypocalcemia?
Sir, hypocalcemia is a QT prolongation.
Yeah, so it is very important whenever you have a child with dysfunction, you must always look at the QT interval.
Especially in catch-22. Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, if top physiology we have to see for QT because it could be a catch-22 underlying.
Particularly atrasias and truncus.
Yes, truncus.
Sir, and coming to hypokalemia, so there is progressive resting depression, decreased amplitude, increased wave amplitude, and in advanced stages of hypokalemia, due to amplitude duration increases. Even after duration usually is increased, PR interval is slightly prolonged. So this is just a pattern showing the progressive changes in the hypokalemia. So this is just a pattern showing progressive changes of hyperkalemia. So during mild changes, you might have PR prolongation, QR prolongation, faulty wave.
First change is always T wave, na?
Yeah, वो
hyperacute T wave.
Not hyperacute. It is tall tented T wave. Hyperacute का broad wave asymmetrical wave. ये भी एक question है.
Hyperacute is broad, ये tented है.
Tented.
क्या hyperacute में J point admission हो रहा है. Then gradually the P waves merge. The P waves are lost. What is again increases? ST segment is lost, and gradually we have a sine wave pattern. So question is why there is loss of P wave?
Why there is
loss of P wave?
The loss of atrial depolarization.
So basically,
so membrane, ventricular membrane starts spontaneous depolarization.
So it is ऐसा नहीं है मतलब it is like T wave तो normally यही है ना हमारा ECG रिकॉर्ड करेगा जब दो तेरे वेक्टर्स के अंदर डिफरेंस होगा in hyperkalemia तेरा propagation of impulse इतना slow हो जाता है कि there is hardly any difference between the two electrodes. Getting my point?
नहीं, बेसिकली यही तो होता है ना, when there is hyperkalemia तो there is paralysis of atrial muscle.
इसीलिए
So
होता
the
है क्योंकि
because
propagation of
there
impulse
is a
बहुत कम
loss of atrial depolarization and there will be early atrial repolarization. तभी तो QTP जो है वो आपका जो है कम होने लगता है.
QT का मन होता है.
Yes.
In
And that
spite
is
of
why
QRS
the
increase.
only mechanism of action is कि it just stabilizes your membrane potentials.
Done.
What membrane potential stabilization?
यार जब भी एक पोटेशियम ज्यादा होता है तो रिपोलराइजेशन ज्यादा होती है.
हाँ बोलो बोलो.
तो वही मतलब डिपोलराइजेशन स्लो बहुत ही धीरे होता है और रिपोलराइजेशन ज्यादा अच्छी तरह होता है. तो इसलिए QT बिकम शॉर्टर और T वेव हो जाता है. So just showing orthon waves, you can see prominent J waves in what we. So anyone wants to take this?
Can you point at it that Osborn waves again?
Yeah.
So how do you describe them? Where are they coming? What are they?
So they come at the HT junction, which is basically the J point. So they are basically due to changes in the endocardial and epicardial action potentials. That's why there is a
So there are other features which come. No, there is bradycardia, which is a very important sign of hypothermia. When QT gets prolongation, because QT gets polarization, there is a small repolarization which happens, which leads to this Osborn wave. No, because electrical signal wants to repolarize in that area जहाँ वो पर पूरा signal आ नहीं पाता है, तो it causes that Osborn wave. Okay.
So anyone wants to take it?
Electrical alternance.
Electric alternance, low voltage amplitude, and this.
Causes तो बता दो सारे electrical alternance के.
So large pericardial effusion.
Yeah.
Rapid rates, heart rates, electrical uplift.
Yes, any rapid heart rate, whether by a supraventricular tachycardia or even sinus tachycardia at a very high rate, can cause electrical alternance. Or
Ventilation, मतलब positive pressure ventilation. नहीं पता.
yeah, मतलब it could be also present in constrictive cardiac pericarditis thing. Then
जैसे
any
hypertrophic
anywhere
cardiomyopathy,
there is a pneumo or
large
a tension pneumothorax
pleural
situation.
effusion, हाँ pneumothorax.
If there is a myocarditis, so it is also seen. It can also be seen in myocarditis, or ऐसे मैंने तो ये भी पढ़ा है कि it can also be seen in rheumatic RHD patient presenting with acute rheumatic fevers. But obviously, most common is a large pericardial effusion or a hemopericardium, and the reason is swinging motion of heart.
Anyone wants to take it?
ये नीचे वाली लीड क्या है?
नीचे वाली कोई देखना है, मतलब रिदम स्ट्रिप है तो
What is this? Wave or
P wave alternate है.
yeah, P wave.
P wave alternate है, which is indicative of greater stability and higher sensitivity.
Etiology?
Radiology इसमें पता नहीं, पर otherwise इसमें सकते हैं drugs मतलब जो भी यूटिन फॉर्मुलेशंस के हैं.
Pro-arrhythmic state हो गई ना,
Pro-arrhythmic
pro state है तो basically associated with idiopathic ventricular tachycardia. J-wave syndrome नहीं पता है? Question पूछा था यार हमको.
Yes, early depolarization syndrome, Osborne waves, इस तरह के.
चलो good.
मतलब this was general.
Yeah.
हाँ but ये
के
सर
लिए-
सही कह रहे हैं. We should do it once with the
Congenital.
chamber enlargement thing and how to set
Actually,
them
yeah,
in a
probably
Congenital.
हमें ECG के 2-3 करने पड़ेंगे. And I think we should do something like Perloff. जैसे Perloff में you completed a book, no? Why not take a very small ECG book and everybody reads it and discusses it?
हाँ सर
हाँ, ये-
मतलब approach कैसे कर लेते हैं.
It will cover everything, no? मतलब take one
Narrate.
very whatever any book and complete from first to last chapter.
देखते हैं सर, फिर लेते हैं जिसकी ई बुक भी अवेलेबल हो. आई थिंक सबसे अच्छी गोल्डबर्गर ये है. ही हैज रिटन चैप्टर इन ब्राउन वर्ल्ड.
Okay. एक दो दिन में एक्सप्लोर कर लेते हैं. I think we can.
मोस्ट स्टैंडर्ड इज वो चाओ.
क्या अवेलेबल है क्या?
चाओ
है available.
अवेलेबल सब है सर.
Available है. तो चाहो सर ऐसे पढ़ना है ना.
एक बार शेयर कर दो. एक बार कॉपी कर दो. Let's have a look. ये तो we are not doing it tomorrow. We will plan it after 4-5 days, whatever.
And I think
Sir,
ECG
I can make a
we
strong
need to
argument.
practice it on practice ECGs. That is more important.
No, let's. वो तो अभी शुरू हो गया ना. We'll start doing it. Then we'll
Yeah.
keep on posting. 3. She's Romila is posting every day now from today. Only thing left is that will be non-congenital. So एक बार maybe 3-4 days we will discuss that book and complete it off. Whichever